Yo, what's good? This is Millsthursdays, episode, shit. I think it's episode 22, man. I gotta get it right, man. I'm starting to lose it, man. I'm just putting out shit every week that I'm trying to, man. So, hey, I'm just trying to keep the consistency level. And when you do that, sometimes you forget what episode you put out. But regardless of the number or not, we have 3 special guests. We already have 2 that I'm pretty sure some of y'all familiar with Delonte and Soulogik. And we have a newcomer here by the name of Rob Barth, a.k.a. Dr.Lekta is his rap alias. So, speaking of that, Dr.Lekta, go ahead and introduce yourself, man. Tell the people, man, what you about.
Yo, Dr.Lekta, UK representing UK hip-hop. If you want to check me out on Instagram at Dr.Lekta1. Got a mixtape. Well, something's dropping in a few days by Dave East, the mixtape that I'm featured on. So check that out. Have a look on his social media. Have a look on mine. It'll be on there.
Yeah. My dog. Yo, and I want to say thank you. I know it's late over there. Right now it's 2 p.m. It's what, 10 or 11?
I think it's half 10, but it's all good. I'm an insomniac anyway, mate. It's all right. It's all good. I'm awake anyway. It's all good.
I hear you, man. Thank you, though, man. Thank you. And definitely, again, please check out Dr. Lekta's music. You already know something's about to drop soon with Dave East. So you're making moves, man. Salute to you. And yeah, man. So we have these 2, Delonte, Soulogik. Whoever wants to go first and say their name again, go ahead. Who's up?
Soulogik and the place to be. T-shirt says it all. So you know who it is, and you actually have a really special episode here because you actually got Soulekta on this shit because me and Soulekta form Soulekta. So yeah, there's a project. If you Google it, you'll know what I'm talking about.
It's a dope. Yeah. It's a dope vibe. What is this? This is just a raw groove. Was that?
Yeah,
was
the raw groove. This is just a raw groove.
Yep.
I actually produced all of that as well, didn't I? I forgot about that. That was in me.
You produced the whole joint, though. You did the beats. I did the rhymes.
Yeah, man. That was dope.
Real
hip-hop. It was like 2011, 2012, something like that. It was a long time ago, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
so
crazy.
It came out dope, man. It's a dope project. We've been collaborating for a minute, so we're seasoned MCs here, so we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh wait, let me put myself. I'm an MC too that used to rap, and I had a couple tracks with Dr.Lekta, but I stopped. But I'll come back. But never. It ain't about me, man. Delonte, man, go ahead.
Delonte, go.
Yeah, man, it's Delonte, aka drum major, producer, writer, filmmaker, all of the above. I get it done. Social media is the _drum major, and check out my website drummajorproductions.com.
And yeah, and writer as well. Delonte's like, man, I think they know me by now, man.
Yeah, all the stuff that I be saying. Yeah.
I don't even bother putting my Instagram. People won't even know how to say it, so you can just tag it.
Yeah, that's true. I got you. So we gonna get to it, man. We all hip hop heads. Delonte, get ready. Okay? So the first question I'm going to ask. This question came from Delonte. Delonte, I want you to explain first. After I say this question. No, you going first, bro. No. No, you going first. So I'm asking all y'all, and Delonte is gonna go first. Delonte brought this up when he was voting for Millsthursdays. We had a little back and forth. I said, you know what? You're coming on the show. This is bullshit. You coming on the show. We're going to talk to some real hip-hop heads. Soulekta, transform right now. We need you. So the first question, is Illmatic a classic? Delonte, go.
No.
You got to elaborate. I knew it was him, too. I knew as soon as I heard the question, I knew it was him.
All right, so one, I'm not even gonna preface it by saying that. I really, when I think of a classic album, I literally think of an album that doesn't necessarily only refer to hip hop heads in general, but can kind of break the barrier to like anybody can listen to it, or anybody or everybody knows what it is. So when people always say Nas's Illmatic is a classic album, and then I ask why, they never give me a real strong explanation other than, well, it's supposed to be there, like, because the people who came before us just automatically put it there, right? So then when I dive into it further, I'm like, okay, so name one song off of this classic album. No one can ever do it. So for me, I'm just like, to me, I preface it by saying I'm not a Nas fan regardless. Like, I've always thought he can rap. Always thought he was a great lyricist. He picked, as a producer standpoint, he picks terrible beats every single time. And I'm just like, yo, if he had, and I had this conversation, I may have told Keith this too, like, if Nas had Mobb Deep beats, right? Yo, every album that he put, just that, start on that base standard. Every album he put out would be hard as shit, right? But he does not, his production standard never lives up to what I think it could or should be. But as a lyricist, he's dope. But as far as Illmatic being a classic album, yo, ask anybody who claims to be a hip hop head, right? They can name joints off of every album, but when it comes to Nas, no one seems to know that track list, or no one can seem to. They always think of, and this is the song that I always get: "If I Ruled the World." Shit wasn't even on that album.
Lekta, I'll let you go first because I got a lot to say, and I don't know if you do. Go first.
To me, it's definitely a classic. Even if you just look at the production standpoint on it, you've got Pete Rock, Large Pro, Q-Tip, DJ Prem. That, for me itself, speaks volume. I agree with you in regards to the production basis after that album. The production, well, the beats he was picking weren't great, but from that album itself, you know, you can't touch it, in my opinion, altogether. And then from his lyrical ability back and forth all the way through, and what he's talking about, you know, I've never been to New York, but I'm telling you now, I've got a picture of New York in my head when I listen to it. So, you know, Nas for me is the best MC there's been through, you know, writing and the way, you know, he can put his flows together, his patterns, punchlines, everything. To me, he's a genius. So I'm biased, and in my opinion, Illmatic's the greatest hip-hop album there's ever been. And I'll be, you know, what other MC, any other, well, a lot of MCs that you listen to, especially who've, like, you know, got far in it, what do they say? What's always in there? Illmatic. So for me, Illmatic, yeah, it's a classic. It's unquestionable classic, and that's all I've got to say. that's it.
Brito.
I don't know about this, man. Rappers a monkey with the funky rhythm I be kicking, musician and flipping composition, the pain. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna pause right there. So I'm just starting it off. You already know. I'm not one of those people you've been talking to that can't quote tracks off the album. I can quote the whole album, probably rap the whole album to you. So I will tell you a little bit of the history of why it's a classic, because when you look at a classic, it's not about just you listening to it with your own ears, because you're missing a lot of the context of what the album brought. The first thing that Illmatic brought was the array of producers. So when Nas gets criticized for not being good at picking beats, Illmatic was the first rap album to have multiple producers, because before it used to be an MC and a DJ. It was Pete Rock, Move, KRS-One had his guy, Rakim, Eric B and Rakim. So you had a bunch of duos that were together. Public Enemy, they had, I forgot what the team was called, but they had their own Bomb Squad. They had Bomb Squad. Yeah. NWA had Dr. Dre. So they all had their own producers. But then comes Illmatic, where you have producers from completely different camps. You have Q-Tip from Tribe Called Quest. You have Large Professor from Main Source. You have Pete Rock from Pete Rock and CL Smooth. And then you just have and then of course you have DJ Premier from Gangstar, which you already know. So Illmatic was the first album to have that. That wasn't known before. So in New York, for instance, and in the rap world, go back into the rap world, just the single rap world, because you got to understand that one of the reasons it's not going to be known as a classic in all genres because hip hop wasn't respected at that time. But it's one of the genres, one of the albums
that gave it notoriety. It made people say, oh shit, we got to start seeing what these guys are doing. It started. It wasn't the biggest one, but it started. Of course, Doggy Style came, and then it just opened up the doors. But at the time it came out, hip hop was more restricted for the people in this area and a few people around the world that were interested in watching your MTV raps. So when Illmatic dropped, a lot of people around the hood and in neighborhoods, they were like, yo, how is he getting all these producers? Like, how are all these people coming together? Because the hype behind him, a young rapper, because you'd heard of Rakim spitting about everything, and that's what people used to say. Rakim is rapping about everything. There's nothing else to rap about. He's rapping about everything. You know, and then Nas comes out. He's a younger guy. He's in his 17 when he dropped his first feature or something. And then the hype was there. And then Illmatic, he had to live up to that hype that was built. So then it was Illmatic. And when he drops the first track, the very first track off the album, New York State of Mind, you hear that track and you think that that's his only pocket. But then he introduced the concept of talking to people in jail. That wasn't a thing. When he did One Love, One Love is a track addressing his peoples in jail. That wasn't being done. That was Nas. So now when you hear a lot of tracks dedicated to people like that, think Nas. He had like Life's a Bitch, which was kind of like a different type of track, but it was kind of like gritty. It wasn't like inspirational. It was kind of like down and out. But he comes in, I wake up early in my born day at 20 years of blessings, the essence of adolescence manifested, you know, and all that stuff. He's talking about a more uplifting tone on a track called Life's a Bitch, which also has one of the best rap verses ever by AZ.
Yeah, AZ killed it. He killed it.
Yeah,
definitely.
And then you have a constant saying nowadays, a lot of people say the world is yours. That's a Scarface quote, but who popularized it in hip hop was Nas when he made that song, The World is Yours. So that's another reason why when you hear The World is Yours, you're hearing a lot of quotes from Illmatic without even knowing that people are quoting Illmatic.
See, okay, so everything that you're saying is like, I already knew all that, right? But this is why I continue to say, because technically that's my definition, or I guess the broader sense of people's definitions of a classic is different than the technicalities that you're talking about, right? So like, I get all of that, but from the public view, right? And that's what I'm basically speaking to, is the public perception. Like, people who don't listen to Nas, right, don't know that track list. 90% of them, or don't, when they think of a classic album, they only say that's classic because of the people before them without doing the listening or the research or anything themselves, right?
It's like a lot of people say Tupac is the best, but they don't know any songs.
But see, okay. So that's another part. I've never heard anyone say Tupac was the best. It was always Biggie.
Oh no, not for me. Like where I'm from, everybody, Biggie doesn't even get mentioned. It's Tupac. But I'll be honest with you, and this might be controversial me saying it now. Tupac's not even in my top 20 rappers
Not mine
of all time.
Not
even.
See,
I'm not saying he's bad, but literally, when I dove, he's probably the first person I heard when I heard rap music. But then when I dove further into it and you listen to more underground people, I realised there's a lot of better technically gifted rappers than him. But, you know, he's
when he was alive,
he got into rap by accident. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like he was a rapper coming out the womb. He was just an art head. He was just an artsy ass person.
But
right?
Real quick, when you mention art, I want to tackle something real quick there, because another reason you probably don't see Illmatic the same way I see it is because you're looking at it from how people look at it, from like the masses and what they know. I'm looking at it from the art standpoint. Like when you look at it from the art standpoint and what it shifted and what it made others do, it had everybody shift how they sounded. Jay-Z changed the sound. A lot of people changed how they were approaching music when that came in. Classics are usually the genre by turning the genre from one direction to a new direction. That's usually how you define a classic within the genre. So it's not.
But Jay-Z, I don't, because I'm not going. I couldn't sit there and say Jay-Z shifted his sound because of that, because he was still rapping fast as hell, right? I don't think it was necessarily.
Reasonable
No. That was his Reasonable Doubt. His first project. Before that, he was still rapping fast, right?
But that's the thing.
When he changed his style,
he slowed it down.
I know on Reason, but I would never equate that to Nas. I've always equated that to Biggie because they was close, right? And they did records together.
Well, Jay-Z said it himself. Illmatic dropped on bootleg. Thought we was all, that shit was so dead. Thought we was all dead. Jay-Z said that. He said,
And
so ahead. Yeah, she thought we was all. That's kind of him copying to the fact that he listened to Nas and then he sampled Nas.
Yeah, Dead Presidents.
that's what you
Yeah,
actually.
yeah,
I don't get that from that. I don't get that from that line.
And
But I guess that's
also, were you paying attention? Were you listening to just all hip hop at that time? Like, I don't know what the age difference between you and I is. There's probably an age difference there too. I was listening to hip hop and I heard how the sound changed from before Nas to after Nas. I heard what started to happen. You know what I mean? Like, I'm 37, so I was like 11, 10 when the Illmatic came out. And a lot of rappers were doing the funny voices. It was a thing to do funny voices. I'm
Oh, wait, that's
I remember that.
yeah, and then you had
That's
also
well.
the underground, Mr. Funky with the weird voices, and a lot of rappers were doing a lot of weird shit. You had a few of the older rappers that kind of started to mellow out, but Nas was coming out as a young rapper. It's like when people praise like a Joey Badass, or today you would say a Kendrick. Like, people say Kendrick is so ahead of his time. Like, he's a young guy, but he's rapping about complex things. You know what I mean? That was Nas at the time. They weren't doing that. And he just came out saying, I'm coming out swinging. I'm going to talk about what I know, and I'm going to talk about my life.
Let me interrupt real quick. Delonte, did you explain why? I know you talked about people not knowing, Nas's track list to say why it's not a classic. But when you sit down, I know you talked about the production as well. But what is it, again, I just want to make sure that I get your point across clear. What is it to you that doesn't seem like Illmatic is not a classic? What is it?
because to me a classic would represent like, and it's hard for me to say this person, but it's like a classic would have to define, not, I don't want to say cross, I don't want to use the term as cross genres, but like you would be able to go up to someone who doesn't necessarily know anything about hip hop, and they can tell you what that album is, or name something off of that album. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I say when it's a classic, it can kind of cross racial barriers, or I don't want to say racial barriers, but like it doesn't necessarily have to be for just this pure hip hop heads. That's why I keep saying, that's why I say that, like it can be considered a classic to you. That's why I was going to bring up when you said how old you were, but you grew up in that, so it's like you saw that. But to the people who will come through as an afterthought and listen to it, why would they consider that a classic? Just because you tell them it's a classic? That's what I'm saying. Like,
you know
To
what?
me,
I actually agree. I agree.
Let me say real quick. Just to me, I mean, when I listen to Illmatic, that's, again, and I said this to you in the message. I said, Illmatic is the essence. To me, it's just straight.
Hold on. But when you're going,
go ahead.
But Keith, before he goes, because I remember this. So Keith technically sort of proved my point in this when I asked them to name the songs off the track list without using Google.
But I told you it's not even about the songs. I couldn't name all of them, right? But I know.
But my point is too. But you're a hip hop head, so you're going to know some. I'm saying for me, right? At least a classic should be able to resonate with anybody even the person who's not a hip hop head. So they should be able to know that. So when I think of a classic album, I wouldn't even say that's, huh?
Go ahead.
Oh, because I was gonna say I wouldn't even say necessarily Reasonable Doubt wasn't necessarily a classic album, right? It's a classic album in terms of hip hop, but did it get other people outside of our culture to listen to it? I would say 100%. I wouldn't say 100%. Like, maybe both of them started to trickle in, but it wasn't like hitting the masses like that. So I don't necessarily consider that to be a 100% classic because of that stipulation. Now, when I think of a classic, just for example, right, I would say, like, I think he has more than that, but Get Rich was, for this example, Get Rich or Die Trying could be a classic because you can go up to anybody, even an elderly person, and they would know that album or know some records off that joint, right? And maybe that has to do with promotional efforts, or maybe that has to do with other factors that go into that. But it's like,
would you say the same about Doggy Style? What'd you say about Doggy
Yeah,
Style?
yeah. I would say, but yeah, I would say that about Doggy Style. But that's what I'm saying. So maybe it also could have more to do with the marketing and the marketing dollars that's put behind
Facts.
it, opposed to just the music itself. That could all be a factor in it as well. I'm not dismissing
That's
it, but
exactly what I was about to say. The album gets legs later, not right away. Like Get Rich or Die Trying was instant because what you just said right there with the marketing.
Yeah.
So with
But
Illmatic,
Same with
it
the
gained
Slim
traction
Shady
late.
LP as well. That was the same Slim
yeah,
Shady LP. You know, and you could walk up to anyone, couldn't you, and go, "Hey, have you heard the Slim Shady LP?" And you'd say, wouldn't he? "Oh yeah, Eminem." Or Marshall Mathers LP. But the thing with Eminem, because he was so, and you know, he was an amazing rapper, you know, back in the day. But because he was so marketable, no one had seen, you know, a white rapper rap as good as him. You know what I mean? He got pushed into the media so heavily. So, you know, that's why he just blew up, didn't he? And everybody's heard of him. You know, my granddad knows who Eminem is. He probably knows some of his lyrics. Do you know what I
Nah,
mean?
I'm
So it's
but yeah, but
definitely
see,
a,
that.
I'm gonna
but
go
that
just
goes
off
to
of
my
what
point
you were
though.
saying right there. The media, no, if the media pushed Nas that album in the beginning, we wouldn't be having this discussion then, Delonte, with
I
that
still,
point you just made.
And
but I
also, yeah, it
honestly, at
sold
that
little.
point, I still don't think so.
But
That's
also,
nah.
the thing is about Illmatic too is it sold very little because again, it wasn't pushed like that. It was pushed.
Right.
It was sold as a hip. Honestly, the label didn't believe in it as much as they believed in the other acts because they were used to Heavy D. They were used to Big Daddy Kane doing more
Oh
commercial.
yeah, yeah.
MC Hammer. You had the MC Hammers. They were like, we want that. That shit's gonna sell. But what you're doing here, I don't know, man. But then it caught on and it made a household name. The fact that it actually the only reason Nas became a household name is because of that album, only because it was so good, not because it sold, but because it was so good that everybody in rap was talking about it. Like you can't dismiss this.
But even as
But mind
a
you, people outside weren't listening to the music. Like my mom and dad, they weren't listening to that. They listened to Doggy Style, they listened to Chronic for some reason, and they hated it because it was so controversial, so much dirty language. They listened to it.
that's kind of funny.
That
But
is.
so let me ask you both of you guys this, not necessarily directly at you, Keith, but you two down here because you're our producers, right? So what style of production do you prefer? Because I also believe that has something to do with it as well. So right, so when you're making a track, what style of production do you prefer to make, or what style of production do you prefer to listen to?
I'll let Lecter get that.
Yeah, and do you mean like the process of me making a beat? Like what kind of, you know, if
No, just like what's your when you set out to make when you want to make a record, right?
music?
And if you don't want to dabble into other different genres, what record are you going to sit down and be like, yo, I know I can do this 100% and it's going to sell?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't. I just think of when I make something that I like. I'm not, you know, and then I'll try and push it. So when I do something, it's more boom. If you listen to my music, it's more kind of like boom bappy
Boom bap.
kind of style sample. But at the moment, the latest thing I've just released, it sounds like something off a Nintendo game. It's hard to explain, but
No,
it's
but
kind of, you know.
I get what you're saying.
Do you know what I mean? I can do, like, especially where, you know, I'm from, you know, we've got grime and all sorts. I can easily do a hip hop beat and then jump on the grime beat and start doing all the, you know, the
I got a
double
question.
time
I got a
kind of
question
that.
for you. I'm glad you said it because I do have a question for you about that because I was having this discussion. But
Yeah.
hold on. So I want to get Brito's answer to that real quick. When you do some production type, what is the type of beat that you know you can make that you be like it's easy for me to make? You know what I mean? Like it's your go-to style or genre.
I mean, when I know I'm gonna be comfortable and I know my flow is gonna be on point and I will rarely fuck it up, boom bap.
Okay, so
It's
both.
not risky. It's not risky for me to do boom bap.
Yeah,
So
no,
that
yeah.
so that technically goes into my point as well, right? Because me personally, and this is just me, I'm not 100% fan of the boom bap style, right?
Right.
Because for me, it's very repetitive, right? I know from a boom bap, do know how to have to count bars, you know how to know when the hook's gonna come in. So it takes that skill as a rapper, but as a producer, I'm bored making that style because it's so repetitive, right? And I've also told, I don't know if I shared this with Keith, when I make a production, I sample, but I don't like I don't sampling like that because I feel like it's a cheat code at times, right? Because the sample can do a lot of the work for you. So when it comes, and a lot of boom bap style is that sampling style. So for me, I'm not a boom bap head whatsoever, but that speaks to the era that you guys grew up in, that you say that you are, right?
Delonte,
So
let me ask you a quick question, and you can go back into where you're gonna say, okay? Do you like DJ Premier?
Yeah.
Pete Rock?
But that speaks all. That's what I'm saying. So all the producers that you named, and I'm not taking any disrespect to them whatsoever. I'm just not a boom bap type of head, unless I'm not a boom bap type of head, or I'm not even a sample head like that, right? So the only person that I can be like, yo, and I've shared this with you, I don't like Kanye for this reason, right? So the only person that I like who would sample some shit and I'd be like, damn, that's just hard. It's like, it's not the only person, but one of, it's like a Just Blaze, right? He'll sample some shit and then go back and play live instruments or add live instrumentation on it. So you like, damn, that was a sample. You didn't know that, or you hear the sample faintly. Not necessarily the sample is carrying the production. So when I hear a boom bap, it's more so like the drums, like the drum pattern is the same and the sample carries the production. Not to say it's bad production, it's just not for me because that's not the style that I like to make, and it's not, when I make something, it's not challenging enough for me to make.
Actually,
so you're tying what your music taste is, what you have with Illmatic, though. We're gonna go right back to that. So
real quick, I'll say, and I was gonna ask Delonte this before I say my next point, but do you like the beats on the Illmatic?
They're okay. They're not, to me, they're not, that's what I'm saying. So to me, they're not world changing. But then again, it's like I didn't grow up in the era where you're coming from the 80s where it 100% is just a drum pattern. And you may have a melodic beat over it to where it's a sample doing most of the work. And then you still have the drum patterns underlaid under it. And then you go to our genre or our generation where you sample, you play keys over it, right? Or you do something to manipulate.
Let me add something.
Brito, go ahead.
I have
and
a quick
last word.
Last note, it actually ties in directly to what Delonte, right? I keep saying I'm saying Delonte. But this ties into your last point, because you were talking about how the sample is just laid on top of the beat. One of the big things about it when you compare music from back then to today, I like boom bap because of nostalgia mostly, I'll admit that. Because from today, when I go to make tracks, boom bap is my comfort zone. So I'm like, I know I'll nail this, but I'm like, I don't want to keep doing that either. Because I don't see if I can do something, you know what I mean? So I want a beat that's gonna force me to like not go into my normal bag. And Keith has heard some of my new shit where I'm going in way outside of my bag. It's still me, but it's outside of my bag. And I'm like, how do I incorporate the main elements of boom bap with this new stuff? Because I will agree, the beats nowadays are crazy with the way people do them, but it's also technology has enabled that. Because there's some things that I used to do when I started making my own beats. I did for a little bit, and I was using Fruity Loops.
Yeah, I think everybody started on Fruity Loops.
Yeah, exactly. So I started off making my own sounds and using Fruity Loop sounds. And there's some beats that I made back then didn't sound right in the environment of rap because of the way rap was made at the time. Today, beats are fire. They work now. People are used to electronic sounds in hip hop. There was a time when
I've been told that too.
Electronic sounds in hip hop. You know,
I've been told that too. Like,
let's get to it. Let's get to it. Delonte, you got 20 seconds. I'm putting you on the timer.
No, I just had a question for Robert, right? So this is completely different. So can you to me explain exactly what grime is? Because I like grime. I love listening to grime, but and then I love drill. Like I love drill. But grime itself, I cannot, every time I think I know what a grime beat is, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, so grime, it's usually around 130, 140 BPM. Have you heard the garage music? Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard of garage? So it kind of originated from garage music. I don't know if you've heard of Wiley, the MC Wiley.
Yeah, I like Wiley. I actually like Wiley.
They kind of come up with grime and basically just, obviously they've used a lot of electronic music and then mixed it in kind of with garage music. The best way to describe it. It didn't kind of originate where I'm from, because where I live, I'm up north. I live just outside of Liverpool, so it's different. Where it's come from London, basically. It's a London genre. That's where it's come from, and it's like fast paced. It's kind of like it's influenced by hip hop, but at the same time, it's got garage, drum and bass. It's a lot of mixture of different genres together, basically. That's how to
So is
explain
it?
it to you.
Is it? That's why I asked, because I haven't seen met anyone who can technically explain it to me correctly. Because I like it. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know
Yeah.
how to explain it to someone who doesn't know what it is. So I technically don't want to get it wrong. But when I listen to it, to me, it reminds me of trap.
Yeah, it's similar. I know what you mean by the sounds and that. Yeah, it's very, very similar to it can sound very similar to trap music. Even like with the drills, the drill scene, the similar kind of sounds.
Yeah.
The thing is with grime music though, the beat's a lot, it's a lot quicker, you know what I mean? It gets you more, like I said, it's more of a faster pace, 130, 140 BPM. And you find when the MCs are rapping on it as well, it's a lot quicker, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Rather than me. You wouldn't do like a boom bap, smooth,
Right,
kind of, for example, you wouldn't be able to do a Nas flow or something over a grime beat. You know what I mean? It wouldn't sound right. It's a different kind of MC, and it's just different completely. To be honest with you,
Isn't grime kind of like essentially when you put a rapper on a dubstep type beat, kind of close enough?
Not really, because it's different. I can't. It's hard to explain because I'm not saying they're not, like a rapper, but the different kind of MC. You know what I mean? But they've come from like spitting over like garage music. So it's, with raves and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So it's that's kind of like the culture, like around here, illegal raves and all that kind of maddish. So when, they're spitting over it, and then it's just kind of, they've experimented with garage and, different kinds of electronic music, put it together, and that's what's come out. And it just sounds dirty, doesn't it? Sounds raw. You listen to it and you just like getting your screw face on, you know what I mean? You just want to go and butt someone's nan or something, don't you? You know what I mean? that's how you feel when you listen to it. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? It's aggressive music, but I love it. I couldn't listen to it all the time, but I do pump it a lot.
Listen to grime, man. That shit gets you hype. I remember listening to him when I was like in my teens. It's like yo, it's new sound, but it's dope, though. It's dope, and it's difficult to rap on beats like that, though.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And I just remember just them just rapping fast. And Delonte, that's definitely a good question. Like for especially us Americans, like what is grime, so we know exactly what we're listening to. But just that explanation alone, Dr. Lekta, makes perfect sense. Okay,
that's the best.
So,
I'm probably not 100%, but that's the best. That's
better. That's better than what me and Delonte knew. So thank you.
Yeah. No
you
problem,
know what I mean? All right, but so Dr. Lekta, you I think within you talking about Illmatic and why is it a classic album for you, you talked about the technician, like rapper technicians in that in your what you're saying. So Brito, me and Soulogik, we had a conversation, I say about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and we're just talking about just who's technically like the best MC, right? So when I think about just technical rappers, automatically it goes to Eminem. Just to me, like technically speaking, with the rhyme patterns, it's Eminem all the way. But then we had a little deeper discussion with the other rappers, and this is what I'm bringing to you guys. And let me ask this question: who is the better rap technician? Kendrick Lamar, or Logic? Who would like to go?
I went first last time, so
Brito, this is your question, so you have to.
All right. I've been thinking about this for a minute because it's a tough one. It's very tough, but technicalities alone, I give it to Logic because of the range he does, and even when he freestyles, you'll be surprised. A lot of his records actually on tracks recorded, straight freestyles off the top of his head. Like he does that sometimes. Like he has a track called Sriracha, which is a horrible song, but he has a Joyner Lucas and it's Tech Nine, Joyner Lucas, and Logic. Logic came in with a freestyle on a track with Tech Nine and Joyner Lucas. He did not outshine them, but when you take into context that was a freestyle, it's deep technical when you listen to it just a freestyle. And then when you hear Homicide, Logic next to Eminem, it's not bad. He doesn't get thrashed.
that was hard.
a lot of people technically just get thrashed by Eminem, but not Logic. It's like he did what Eminem does pretty much up to par. So if you can do that, anybody that can actually keep up with him, to me, is going to be hard. I think there's a track with Kendrick and M, but I don't think they really delivered, and I didn't hear it.
So I got a question for you, right? So do you think, before we continue answering these questions, do you think Logic has his own sound?
No.
Okay, that's it.
But
I don't either.
But in the technical sense, when you're talking technical, it's not all about originality. It's about how many styles can you do. Like, for instance, the game is a technician. The game can copy people, the ability to copy styles and reproduce them and kind of mix them in with your own. That's technical. That's not about.
But the game has
not
its
about
own
originality and all that stuff. The question is technicality.
No, I know that, but I'm saying, because when you brought up the Eminem point, I was like, yeah, he can keep up with Eminem and he can keep up with anybody, but he doesn't have his own style to come on where someone can keep up with him. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, he can keep up with everybody else, but he doesn't have his own shit where somebody can be like, yo, they kept up with Logic. Logic was nice and they almost got like, he doesn't have that. But
well, he's known for the fast raps. He's known for the fast raps, and that's kind of his lane. It's not his own lane. He's not there by himself, but he's known more for the fast raps. He's one of those double time guys. They call him spitters in the Tech 9 world. If you look that world with the Tech 9s in them, they call them just as fast spitters. And there's no real styles once you get fast like that. There's no real styles that you can differentiate. Fast raps with a bunch of rhymes. That's all. That's the requirement that there is. You know what I mean? He got on the track with Joyner, which the ISIS track with Joyner Lucas.
Yeah, that shit was hard.
And that was more Logic's own style. I don't think he was imitating anybody on that track. It sounded like his fast flow style, which is pretty much the same for everybody once you get to those speeds.
Because I was about to say, as far as, for me at least, as far as a technical rapper is concerned, I'm surprised you said Logic, because I was going to go Logic as well. But when I think about it, I would say Kendrick as technical, but when I think of technical stuff too, it's like it also takes into consideration about what they're necessarily talking about, how they rhyme it together, and as well as the styles that they're using. That's why I brought up the Logic. Do you think he has his own style, right? Because it seems like, for me, he has a lot of songs where he's just trying to imitate someone, trying to find his own sound to see what's going to work for him. Because he doesn't. It's been 6-7 years in the game for him, and he still doesn't necessarily know what his audience is technically looking for from him. You know what I mean?
There's an element of style, though. When you have your own style, sometimes you have your own style so much you can't really mimic people's styles because you can't. Sometimes you don't do it not because you don't want to, because you can't. Every time you try to mimic somebody, it comes out as your own. It kind of has your own thing to it. And I feel like Kendrick is one of those where he'll, like, DNA, Kendrick straight up bit that flow from Eminem, but it doesn't sound like Eminem. But he was going for that Eminem flow. Like, I got royalty inside my DNA. There's a track.
I could see Kendrick. He picked up from Eminem for sure.
There's a track called Wide Awake. Listen to Wide Awake by Eminem. It's on that Relapse album that everybody hates. Eminem does that flow throughout the whole track, and I'm like that flow. Like he says, he's hurting me, she's raping me, she's begging me, he said to date with me. She's like that. That's it. Got honesty and loyalty.
But the difference between him and Logic doing that is, I would see Kendrick doing that as a one-off, or maybe even a two-off, right? But like as paying homage, uphill trying to find himself. That's where I think the difference between them two lie. Like, because it's just, I don't know. I just heard, I like Logic. My brother loves Logic, so I hear a lot of Logic, and it's just like when I listen to Logic, it's a lot of just him trying to just not sure of himself. I should say that's probably a better way to put it. Even though he can technically rap, even though he's nice, even though he has the ability, it's just, I think that plays a strong role when you're talking about, who's a better technician. It's also who's a better technician in, their own ability as well.
I think
not necessarily the ABC.
Last point. I have one last point before I get back to the doc. I think he cares more about the aesthetic of the music, but he doesn't actually want to deliver. He's unoriginal. I'll say he's unoriginal. He cares a lot about the aesthetic of the music and not so much even about the content, because even his content seems plagiarized. So I have a lot of problems with his technical abilities. I have problems with everything else he does. And when I listen to it, it's like
Okay.
Original to me. It's like, it sounds like plagiarism.
Lekta, go ahead. Go ahead to give your. What do you think, man?
My opinion on it, I'll be honest, I'll probably go with Kendrick. Now, there's reasons why. For what Kendrick can change his flow, you know, we can go fast, slow. The thing is with Kendrick, with a difference is with what Logic's like. Kendrick is kind of saying something, if you know what I mean, in the songs. I feel like sometimes Logic just kind of rhymes for the sake of rhyming, if you know what I mean. So he'll be doing all this, you know, this fast ammunition flow, but he's not really saying anything. If you know what I mean, it's kind of nothingness. Now, if you listen to Kendrick Lamar, you know, when he's doing, I'm not saying you can go as fast as him, it's not about that, but when he's picking up his flow or something, he's speaking about something at the same time. Do you know what I mean? He does that a lot on Good Kid, Mad City. You know, there's a lot of songs on there. For instance, The Art of Peer Pressure, when he's picking up his flow in it. You've probably heard that song, but if you haven't, and he's on about, you know, all the trouble he's getting up to and that, but at the same time, he's changing his flow. He's going, you know, back and forth. I've never really heard Logic do that. And like I said, I've heard Logic biting Kendrick Lamar. I think is it Pressure or Under Pressure, his album he done. That album basically is just biting Kendrick Lamar, in my opinion. And I don't know, it's just, you know, I'm not saying, you know, he's not technically gifted. He is. He's a really good MC. But for me, you need meaning behind it as well, not just kind of, you know, just changing flow patterns and all that and just rambling on, which I think he does a lot. And also, which kind of puts me off, he hasn't kind of got his own flavour, like you've been saying. Like you said, it is like he's just plagiarising. Literally, you know, I listen to him sometimes and like, you're just biting someone's style. With Kendrick, he's got his own flavour, and no one else, you know, he can change his tone as well, you know, like he's singing, then he can, you know, at the same time he's telling the story. So that for me, you know, he's got meaning behind it while he's doing it. That for me makes him technically better. But, you know,
it's more so what basically what you're saying is that just the diversity in you and your technician is also important, because yes, Kendrick can do the fast flows. He can say the A, B, C, D, and then the next bar is D, C, B, A, but he can slow it down at the same time, and then there's meaning behind it. Exactly. So that with just knowing that, I have to go with Rob on that one. Technically, I definitely have to go with Kendrick. To me, it's just not the okay. We get that. We get that, because if that was the case, Twista would be the best #1. You know what I mean? Yeah, but he's nice. Yeah. Twista's nice though. I'm not saying he's not nice. Twista's super nice, but to me, it's more. It's more to it. So I just think Kendrick Lamar brings more to the table as a technical rapper.
Yeah,
to me,
definitely, Rob.
You know, but definitely, Logic's up there.
So then, what about? Then this brings up another thought for me. Then, right? Then, what about Busta Rhymes?
Yeah, Busta.
Fast. He's not very technical. Okay, now let's delve into this whole technical thing. Okay, now we're gonna delve deeper. Let's delve a little bit deeper into technical. So technical also means your rhyme patterns. I have not heard very sophisticated rhyme patterns from Busta Rhymes. I've heard him spit fast, but I have not heard some sophisticated rhyme patterns. I can an example is that DNA track, like that rhyme pattern that Kendrick is doing in there. It's like na 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 DNA. So he's rhyming a bunch of words at the end and rhyming a bunch of words in the middle. So when you're talking technicalities, you're going into how are you rhyming, and rhyming a bunch of words in the middle, and then rhyming multiple syllables at the end.
Yeah.
And then like playing around with that all across the track to the point where entire bars are rhyming. Different words in the bars, but entire bars are rhyming.
Yeah.
You know, Busta Rhymes ain't doing none of that.
But when I said Busta,
he doesn't.
But when I said Busta Rhymes, I was going based off of what you guys said about him being able to speed it up and slow it down. Because Busta can do it all, that. Yeah. He'll speed it up, and then the next very line he'll slow it down, then speed it up again. To me, that's a technical skill too. It's not necessarily just about the rhyme patterns and what they're rhyming about.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're going into that. We're adding both on top of that. Like for instance, I compare Twista and Tech Nine. A lot of people often compare them as the super fast rappers, right? So they kind of go head to head, and I feel like they can go the same speed.
Nah,
and
Tech
Edge.
Nine better though. Tech
And
Nine really
I'm
is
about to explain
hard,
why.
man.
I'm explaining why I actually think Tech Nine is better, because Twista also has that thing where he does rhyme in the middle and does that, but the way Tech Nine lays everything out, it's like, how do you have the words and how do you even know how to put this word exactly there and then count the bars and keep it so concise? Like his rhymes are not just fast and just words. It's like everything, all those internal rhymes I'm telling y'all about. He's doing a bunch of those while rhyming fast. It's just insane when I hear him. It's like, how in the world? And this clarity. He's clear.
Yeah. You can hear all his words. You know, that's it.
The timing is crazy.
Yeah.
And Kendrick, on the other hand, I take Kendrick last thing. Kendrick loses points for me because his timing is not always the best. He might put it off out of time on purpose because that's a style too. But it's comparing him to
like
Tech Nine.
Shocker.
Silk Shocker way off beat, yeah. But that's a style too where you go off beat on purpose. And I do that sometimes myself. But
it's like, have you heard? Speaking of, I don't know if you've heard of these, but Offbeat. Have you ever heard of the Streets from the UK?
The Streets, Garage.
Listen to you talk about Offbeat. Listen to him. It's just like he's talking, and the beat's
I love
just
it.
it's good.
There's a song called Pure Garage. I always talk about that with Algorithm. I always talk about that. Pure Garage, purify damage to your system. True say, spend tubes every day, all day. So listen, hey.
Yeah. You know that
like I could just hear that right there.
It's weird. It's really weird, but it's just like talking, and that's a style. But so Kendrick does a little bit of that. But when I say give credit to guys like Tech Nine and Logic is very on time, very on time. Like, and as an MC, I admire people who are extremely on time because I can be on time, but whenever I'm on time, it sounds boring to me, so I tend to break it. But there are people who can stay on time and it sounds good still. And
you know, one artist that we didn't bring up technically. Definitely, I'm gonna bring up. You can be like, damn, Royce the 5'9".
Yeah, Royce.
I mean,
yeah. That's you know what I mean. But I mean, yeah, it's for us, but for the public, it's like, oh, damn, I forgot because they don't bring his name up enough. But that guy, everything that Brito just said is what he can do. Like the timing, the technical rapping, the layering. This guy can go fast. Come to find out, this motherfucker's been singing since God knows when he can. I didn't know he could sing. But yeah, Royce the 5'9".
Royce is the special, man. He's special.
Yeah.
But technically, even above him, I mean, and Eminem has given him his credit.
Yeah.
It's freaking Crooked Eye. Crooked Eye is a god.
hold on. So I got a question for y'all.
Okay.
So you said Royce, you said Crooked. Then what about Joe?
Technically,
I do like Joe. Joe is good, but
what?
yeah, I
not
like Joe.
technically. Not
I like Joe.
Joe is dope.
Really?
No, I love Joe Budden, but technically, nah, not like that. We're
No,
talking.
he's not on their level, like, but he's good. He's got some good punchlines tonight. You know, I do rate him, but
I can defend Joe. Like, I want to make sure that it's clear. Joe, content-wise, tops all of these guys.
Of course.
Top 3 rappers. I have 3 favorite rappers. Joe is there because of his, and I value content more than technical. I can speak technical all day, and even because I'm a rapper too, sometimes I want to play with it. But I know that's not the utmost thing for me. I'm like, it's dope when you can do it, but I'm like, I don't care much about it like that.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
real.
I'm of the thing. Joe is technical. I just think his content is what sometimes gets me. It's very moody, just like he is. But everything else about Joe is, bro, like I don't know why he don't get that credit like that. Like even when you guys talk,
it's because he has a podcast now and people are like, oh my gosh, the podcast is dope. But this guy, I've listened to this guy since Focus came out. You know, not no damn Pump It Up. After Focus. So that was 03. You know what I mean? And he's had the mood music's dropped, and maybe it's just me. I'm an emo guy. I listen to emo rap. I love it. If I don't care if it's a rainy day, damn it, I'm putting on some Joe Budden because to me, that guy just hits me when it comes to the lyrical content. I feel him. I feel him 100%. And he needs to at least drop a verse.
That guy He was therapy for me, man. Joe was like therapy for me. When I was going through my darkest times in life, listening to Joe actually helped me out. And one of his deepest lines, I'm gonna just drop one. He says like, I need a vacate, a change of scenery, but mama said wherever I'ma go, I'm taking me with me. Just a simple line, but I'm like, when I heard that, I was like, damn, that's deep. Especially when you listen to it within the context of the song, you're like, wow. Because
So that's what I'm saying. So like, he has all these lines and whatnot, but yet y'all don't give him the technical.
Because that's not technical. That's not technical at all.
But it's part of it.
No. Metaphors and stuff like that doesn't count in technical. In the technical world of rap, there's what you call choppers. Like you got to get into these conversations with like the different factions of rap where you talk about certain people and you talk about choppers. And when they talk about choppers, these are people that can do anything and can go anywhere with you. Joe has admitted that he couldn't keep up with Slaughterhouse. He's admitted that he can't keep up with Royce and Crooked. He admits it himself he can't keep up. He has a song where he said it. So he can't go as fast as them. He can't get rhymes like them because he can't even say the words clearly enough the way he usually does.
But why, when you speak of technical ability, it always relates back to going faster, right? Like, I don't necessarily believe that's just one criteria of being technical is you have to have the ability to rap fast or to rap slow. Like, no, it's your rhyming ability. It's your way to bend words and to use wordplay, which he does extremely well. Not saying on the level of Royce, maybe on Crooked. I don't know, but not on the level of Royce. But I'm saying like he doesn't as a technical rapper and as a rapper in general. And maybe it's because of the podcast. I don't know. But
I say fast.
Get that credit.
Fast is like a measure because when you can go fast with all this stuff, going slower is always much easier. That's what I'm saying because so it's about like can you do what I do? So for instance, if I'm comparing myself to let's say he spits a bar, can I reproduce a bar in the same flow? Cool. So he does another flow. Can I keep up? Boom, I can keep up. He hits me with another flow. Can I keep up? Boom, I can keep up. And that's kind of how you test a rapper. And then you disqualify a rapper. If I'm rapping with somebody, right? I'm like, I'm about to do this thing real quick. Let's see you do it. And if they can't do it, I'm like, you're disqualified. It's more like a sport. When you talk about technical, it's a sport thing. Forget the bars at this point. Forget even some of the metaphors. You want to keep them into an extent, but it's about the sport. Can you keep up with what I'm about to do?
Can you fit certain amount of syllables
in
time? Can you fit certain amount of syllables, and can you fit a certain amount of syllables within different words of the rhyming bars, and can it all be on time? But if you go by that criteria, there's literally only only a handful of people that can.
That's the point. That's the point. That's what makes it special.
But I wouldn't necessarily say if we're going by what you just said, that criteria alone, I put Kendrick in there. I wouldn't put Kendrick in there then. Or like Logic barely makes it. You know what I mean? Like then if you're going by that criteria, that's why I'm saying like it can't just be that criteria of rapping fast or whatever, or being able to do that. It's like you should be able for technicality or for technical rappers, you should be able to do that. But I find that it's still difficult to do that at a slower pace, but not at your elementary slow pace, but like at a moderately slow pace to where you as a listener can still rap along to it.
Well, that I agree. I didn't finish, and that I'll give you that point there. So with Tech Nine as well, that's when I also brought up the point of Twista. If that was just the case, we would say Twista is the best, but obviously there are more layers of just rapping fast, which Twista can rap slow too. I'm giving him that. He's technical as hell. Yes,
he's a beast.
But
I don't think he makes good songs, but lyrically he's nice. Rapping wise, he's nice. I don't think he knows anymore. I should say how to make a good. He used to make good records, but I think that's because he had people helping him. If that makes sense.
Yeah, the Kamikaze album was a good album. You know, that was a good album, but with like adrenaline and all that on it. Just, you know, with slow jams, I even like that, even though it's a bit cheesy, I like it, you know what I mean? But to be honest with you, I don't even know what the name of his albums are after Kamikaze. Do you?
Nah.
That's what I mean. no, I don't.
One of the reasons I'm really hip on this conversation too is because I've been following this a lot. I've been listening to a lot of choppers. They're guys that we didn't even mention.
Go ahead.
There's a track called Forever MC, which has Crooked Eye. It has Tech Nine. It has these Ritz. Ritz is a guy, I barely know him, but I know
Oh
him.
yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah, I've
He's
heard of it.
dangerous. So this is a track that had a lot of these guys that do this, and this is the ultimate test. When you put a bunch of people on these tracks, who stands out? And there's people who will drop out immediately. As soon as you hear their verse, they're just gonna drop.
Who stood out? Who stood out in that track? All those ones that you think?
Crooked Eye and Ritz.
Hmm.
Actually, I like Chino XL, but I think Crooked Eye,
Yeah,
Ritz killed it. If you've heard it, Forever MC.
I've heard of Rich though. I mean, if you're on about Chino XL, he used to be, when I was a kid, one of my favourite MCs growing up. I used to kind of want to do that because he used to do it quite quick but slow, if that makes sense. So he'd be like, that's the best way to describe it, you know, that kind of flow. So, and then he had all the, you know, them kind of punchlines as well, where you listen, you'd be like, woo, you know, that kind of Ric Flair in it, you know what I mean? You'd be going in on it. But lately, some of his stuff I haven't been that into, but his older stuff, you know, Chino XL used to be one of my favourite MCs. Apparently, he's bringing out a new album. So we're seeing.
I think he's coming back. I think Immortal Technique was trying to bring him back to kind of get back into the fold and rap again or something like that. But yeah, Rick kind of got it because, and again, this is where Delonte would like this actually because he actually had content. Rick's won to me because he brought together all of it. So he beat everybody, including Tech Nine, because Tech Nine had the flow as always. He had the best flow, but even his rhyme schemes weren't as complex as Ritz. His content complex as Ritz. Ritz was just on that particular track. Y'all would have to hear it to know what I'm talking about. Ritz just had the whole package, you know. But now, who do I personally enjoy? I personally enjoy Chino XL the most, even though I pick it apart and say this guy was better. But I personally enjoy Chino XL the most on that track.
All right, so we're gonna get along. This is a good little hip hop talk. We definitely have to do this again. We have to, because I know Delonte is gonna say something crazy. Brito might bring up another question to come up with. That who knows at this time. But I'm gonna ask y'all. Give me, this is the last one real quickly. Give me your top 2 or top 3 MCs, rappers you listen to right now.
I'll tell you. Mine at the moment, I still listen to Doom a lot. MF Doom, he's definitely up there for me. So Doom, Conway, and I've also been listening to a lot of Rock Marciano as well. You know, Rock Marcy's a beast. He's been around for years, actually. He used to be on Flipmo with Busta Rhymes, and then, to be honest, when he went and done his own thing, I think he's a lot better than he was, you know, which is good. But yeah, they're the 3 people I've been listening to. So a bit more underground, but, you know, they're up there for me at the moment.
Rock Marciano is definitely, he has his own cult following, for sure, man. He's definitely been in the underground circuit for, what, 20
and
plus?
He produces, do you know he produces, like, all of his albums, near enough.
That I didn't know.
He makes all his own beats and everything, so he does everything from kind of, you know, from scratch himself, which I respect, because I'll be honest, I make beats, but I can't, the thing that I find hard, I can't rap over my own beats. That might sound weird, because I've probably heard it that much. I'll end up wanting someone else to rap on it. I prefer someone to give me a beat. I'll rap over it, but if I've done it myself, I can't do it. I don't know what it is. I try, I just can't do it. I'm like, I must have just heard the beat too much. So I respect him even more that he does like full albums of him spitting over his own stuff. And to be fair, his beats are dope. You wouldn't even, you know, you could challenge some of his stuff with anyone, producer-wise and MC-wise. So that, for me, you've got me ultimate respect to be able to do both, you know.
That's a great list, man. Who's Delonte or Soulogik? What you got? Two or three people you listen to right now?
I can tell you, I got my 3 already. Right now, literally this last week, I've only listened to 3 rappers. And they just happen to release new music. So there's that, except one that I went back to. I listened to Conway, Bang. That Bang track is just so freaking hard.
Yeah.
The original with the M's original verse, but I really listened to it for Conway. I'm not even gonna lie. Conway killed that shit. The beat and everything is just, it's a great vibe. I listened to Benny. He released this new track called Deal or No Deal or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Dope, man. Yeah, that's boss.
That shit is so fire. He's changed up his flow a little bit, got a little more complex. Really enjoyed that. Lastly, he released an album that I'm really enjoying right now, Joey Badass. The Light. I'm really feeling that. I don't even like Joey Badass like that, but this album, it might be just timing. I'm craving for that kind of sound, with that kind of lyricism. It hit at the right time. And I just been looking for lyricists, that's all. So, yeah, that's what I've been listening to. And last but not least, my favorite rapper right now that I'm listening to is D-Struck. Inverse Tangent's own D-Struck.
Is he back on the scene, is he? Is he back? Is he spitting?
We cooking.
Oh, that's good. That's good that he's getting back on it, man. That's dope.
Yeah. I mean, I can probably give an early announcement, but I mean, it'll be announced shortly, but we're cooking something. He's got an album coming. I'm doing the engineering, mixing, and all that.
Oh, that's dope, man. I'm glad he's, because, you know, he was one of them. He used to appear on the odd thing, and then, you know, he didn't do it enough, and I used to think, you know, he's a beast, isn't he? He is an animal, like, when he gets on the mic, so, you know, I'm glad he's doing something. I'm glad he is, man. That's good.
I pushed him to do it, because he has this one track that was just sitting on my hard drive that he never put out, and I'm like driving, I fixed it just so I could drive around and listen to it, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna put this out for you if you don't. And he was like, hold up, let me just work on it then. Then he said, all right, I'm gonna just put out an album and I'm gonna put that track on. And I'm like,
oh, that's good.
Because I was about to put it out for you. Like, I was about to be like, all right, fuck you if you're gonna be slapping over. I really like this track and I think people need to hear this one. I'm putting it out. Oh, so yeah, I've been listening to that. That's what I listen to the most. I've been listening to D-Struck and that's it.
Delonte, go ahead.
So mine is kind of tough because I'm an R&B head at first, like first and foremost. So when it comes to rappers, it's like I'm stuck in my ways about who my favorites are. So like it'll always be what I'm listening to is 50 Cent, DMX first and foremost. But as far as you talking about new rappers, I listen to a lot of Stormzy, a lot of Skepta and Burna Boy right now.
Oh yeah, so all you.
And then I was even say whatever reason Pop Smoke. Yeah, for the most part, like I've been stuck. Like it's something about the UK rap scene that just like, yo, this shit is hard to me. And I've been on it for a few years, you know what I mean? But it's just like, yo, this shit like now is like, and maybe it's because I'm bored with the American rap scene as well. Like I'm not a Roddy Ricch or any of the new people you name, like Roddy Ricch or all the Lils or whatever, the Babies, I'm not really a fan of them like that. I don't really care.
No, I'm not. I'll openly say I think they're absolutely appalling, to be honest with you. I can't even listen to them.
Lekta, speaking of which, I got a question for you. How's the UK rocking to Pop Smoke?
Do you know what? A lot. He's very popular. Like that's not really my cup of tea personally, because I'm into the more underground kind of stuff. Which you know everyone has the preference, but you know a few of my mates and that have been pumping that Pop Smoke, and you know it's good just I don't listen to it and think, you know, I'm studying his lyricism or whatever, you know, kind of thing. He's got some good tunes to bang your head to, but he's popular, man. He is, and it's just a shame. He's probably
he doesn't sound that kind of conflicts with, I mean, kind of goes head to head with what y'all do over there. How do people feel? Do they feel like it adds up?
I actually want,
up par?
No, not really. You know, it's just, you know, it's one of them. We're not really, you don't kind of get offended if the kind of, you know, somebody's doing that kind of thing and adding their own thing to it. Like we were on about before with the grime stuff. That's all that is. That's just a mixture of a load of stuff put together. So if somebody else wants to put their own spin on it, they're into it, you know what I mean? And like I said, he's massive, isn't he, worldwide at the moment, that Pop Smoke. So it's, you know, he's... you know, it's good. Not my cup of tea, like I said, but he's the reaction I've seen, you know, of some of my mates in that kind of stuff. They're liking it, so yeah.
Man, it's definitely a shame that he was murdered, man, because the way that we talk about him is like he's alive right now. Yeah. He was on to something, man. He was taking 50 was like, yo, you know, this guy was taking notes of me in the meeting. He was taking notes of everything that I said. He was like, what are you doing on your phone? Taking notes of everything. So, hey, he was on it, man. And he was only 20 years old. And that's a shame. But, you know, I'll go back I'll answer my own question. I just have my three. My three currently is easy. I got Freddie. Freddie's my guy.
Oh, Freddie as well. Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Freddie. Why have I forgot him?
Freddie's been my guy since he put the mixtape out, Babyface Killer. I think that was 13 or 14. That's when I was listening to him heavy. I haven't stopped since. So Freddie, definitely. I love Benny. Out of the whole like Griselda, I think Benny has it. I think he's the complete artist. I love Conway. Conway is that the grittiness he brings to Griselda is definitely that's him right there. But in terms of me, who's the complete artist in Griselda, I feel that is Benny. I feel that he is the star that hip hop needs, because he'll be the one to, bring it back. Like, okay, if anybody could bring bars back, I'm not saying like, oh, he's the best lyrical. No, but if whoever can just bring bars back and it could be fun, is him, because he's the guy. I think he's just the guy for it, man. So that's it right there. Freddie, I got Conway, and Benny, man. So yeah, that's it, man. Yo, this is definitely an informative hip hop episode.
I think you have one more question though, and I think we just kind of
we did. So I'm pretty sure y'all
so I
know
guess this question pose it to Delonte, because we're talking about these dudes. Does he know?
Do you know
To be
Griselda?
honest, no.
Oh,
But then again, preface it by saying like I'm literally not. I'm more of an R&B head than a hip hop head. Like,
so R&B, real quick,
like,
just a quick detour.
Make it quick, man. We got to.
What's your R&B shit?
Huh?
What you on in R&B right now? Your top 3 R&B. What you on now?
Like as new guys or just in general?
Like right now, what are you listening to now? And yeah, new guys, the new joints, because a couple new albums dropped in the last 3 this year.
Well,
which one stands
what
out
I'm going to say is you're probably not one dude, and I've been on this dude since 12. He's relatively new. His name is Devon Terrell. Don't know if you guys heard of him, but he kind of, to me, kind of took what is going to sound weird. Cisco, right? You guys know Cisco, right? Yeah, of course. Cisco is my favorite singer of all time, so I'm not going to get into that. But so he's nice. So what Cisco did was, and I always felt no one else did this until after him, was when he was singing in 16 bars instead of the traditional 4 and 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when Cisco was doing that, everyone was looking at him like, you're going too fast. You can't possibly sing all that. But Devon Terrell kind of, as a new guy, kind of took that and kind of morphed it more and started putting it more or so over hip hop beats, like trap beats and stuff like that. But still R&B, still like R&B beats though. But so like he kind of took that. That's why I like him. He kind of took that style and ran with it more so. So I would say him. But I still, when it comes to R&B, like I'm still with the old. I still listen to Jodeci, Drew Hill, and all that stuff. So when it comes to new people, like I'm maybe like a
Division,
maybe, huh? Yo, yeah,
okay,
yeah, I do. Division, Weekend. It'll be like the mainstream. Like Division's not really mainstream though, but like yeah, it'll be like Division, Weekend. There's
Party
another
Next
person
Door.
I'm thinking of.
Party Next Door.
Actually, nah. I'm not a Party fan like that. Like I don't like he can write, like Party Next Door reminds me of Dream. Like he can write for other people but can't make his own stuff. Like I don't think his own stuff is that great. But for other people, oh yeah, he's like Tank. Tank does that too. Like Tank's music for other people be great. But for his own albums, yo, they be trash. Or I ain't gonna say trash. They just don't live up to what he did for other people.
Facts. All right, you're R&B here. I'm gonna talk to you later about that.
All right, man. Yo, again, episode 22. This is the hip hop edition, and so I'll just say at the end, I just asked if people know Griselda. My followers on Instagram, which you can see the questions every Thursday and see the results as well. 29% said yes, and 71% said no. So this is why I wanted to have a hip hop type episode, just to speak to us, the real heads. You know what I mean? Because this, I can just gauge off that. And I'm not saying Delonte, just because you don't know him, I'm not saying you ain't a hip hop head either. You're just a hip hop head with a very different mind. especially with the Illmatic. I was like, yo, this guy's crazy. But anyway, I had to just give this episode for the hip hop heads, and also Dr.Lekta, man. It's good to speak to you, man, and I'm glad you're doing well in the UK. Keep pushing with the music as well, and you haven't stopped, man. So I really appreciate just the drive, even when we began in 2011, 2012, man. Send me that track too, but
Yeah,
keep it up, man. Do not stop. Don't stop. Soulogik, same thing with you. I tell you that every day. You don't need to know anything else. You already know. Don't stop. I love the music. You expanding the sound. Delonte, you're a damn writer. You do everything. You're a video producer. God knows, I don't know what you do.
Yeah, bro, I'm trying to learn everything.
You do everything. Everyone continue, please, being blessed, man, and just keep working hard during this bullshit time we're in, man. And let's just keep on putting this content out, man, for everybody, man. So,
and let me add one more to my list. I forgot. Yeah. I don't know how I forget my man Ed Sheeran.
Sure.
That man nice.
Ed Sheeran?
Ed Sheeran. Yeah, that man's nice.
Wow.
I love it.
Before we go, you still in VA? Or you moved to Cali?
I'm in Cali now. Drove out here 2 weeks ago.
We got something cooking. Delonte's in Cali now. So
I'm looking for somebody to do a video for me. I mean, I might do it myself, but I'm just kind of like trying not to do too much on my own. I already do the mixing, engineering, and releasing.
Yeah, your mind can get burnt out if you're doing everything. I know what you mean. I've tried to do everything myself, and me head fell off. So I'll just sort of stick to the music, get someone to do me video. But
yeah, it's too much. It's too much.
I agree.
Because mixing alone takes forever.
Man. I'm about to end this episode, man. So,
yeah, no worries.
Yeah, man. Y'all stay blessed, man. Episode 22, man. Y'all check it. Yes, sir.
Take care.
All right. Yes, sir.
Yeah.